So coming to the multi-dimensional array, instead of two dimensions or which we have used in the two-dimensional array, there will be more than two dimensions in the multi-dimensional array. So if you go for too many dimensions, it will become complex, and some of the compilers do not support the multi-dimensional array. They support, but to certain extent only they will allow the dimensions. So multi-dimensional array is an array that has subscripts more than two. So let me give an example. So a multi-dimensional array will be like this. An array named A1. Let's take 2, 1, uh, triple 2. Let's take. So when we see the memory representation, so this first subscript represents the number of arrays that we are going to form in this pattern. That is, if we declare the multidimensional array of 3 subscript, these last two subscripts represents rows and columns. This represents the number of arrays that will be going to be created in this pattern. So when we see the representation, these two represents two arrays which is to be created with two rows, that is two rows and two columns. Two rows and two columns. If we increase this to be 3, then another one array named A will be created. Under the name A will be created of size 2 rows and 2 columns. So this multidimensional array is not preferred for many applications. So coming to the initialization of an array, so here we are just directly initializing the elements to an array. Here an array named days underscore month of data type int is created. It's going to store 12 memories, or it's going 12 elements under 12 memories. So these are all the elements that will be stored. So here the representation will be in this pattern, that is an array will be created from 0 to 11. This is nothing but indexing 0 to 11. So this 31 will be stored here, followed by a 25. Similarly, all the elements will be stored and the last element will be 29. So this is one way of creating an array and assigning elements to it. Here we have created an character array named string. It's going to store 6 elements. So these are all the elements that are going to be stored. So this /0 indicates the end of the character array. Coming to the initialization of a two-dimensional array, here also we can directly initialize the elements to the two-dimensional array. So while directly initializing, you have to use this open curly brace and close curly brace. So here unsized array initialization. So this is take this example. Here we are going to create an array of name S1. So we haven't mentioned, actually we will be mentioning the size of the array here, but we haven't mentioned. So automatically this array will take the size according to the number of elements that are assigned to it. For example, here to better understand, take this example. Here we are just going to create an array named value, but we don't know the size. So the size will be automatically taken based on the number of elements. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements are there. So 8 elements will be, the size will be taken as 8. So this is nothing but unsized array initializations. So coming to the string as an array, actually we don't have a data type named string in C and C++. So to overcome the disadvantage of not having a string, so we are just fusing two things, that is character data type and the array. So what we are doing is, since coming to the definition of a string, since string is a collection of characters, so suppose I want to store a data which is a string, for example Ravi. So this string I need to store in an array. So I don't have a string data type for creating an array. So what I'm doing, since string can be broken into characters, so we are first breaking them into characters and then using the character array. So this character array, now this character array has memory locations 11, 0 to 11. So we will be splitting the string into characters and we will be storing it in separate locations. So now this problem has been solved. So what is our aim? We have to store a string that we have stored by breaking it into characters using the character array. So these are all about an array in C and C++. So before closing the session, let us just summarize what we have seen so far. So coming to the array is a collection of similar data items. So and again array is a derived data type like int, character, float. Array is also a data type, but it is a derived data type. Why you are terming it as derived in the sense? Because these array cannot function separately. It has to depend on the primary data types, that is integer, character, that you would have seen in the declaration part itself. Then coming to the advantages and disadvantages of an array. Advantage in the sense you can store all the elements in under a common name, and all the elements will be stored in a contiguous memory locations. So the advantage of storing in such a pattern is in the traditional method, as I said earlier, so all the elements will be stored in a random memory locations. So to access the elements in which are in random locations, so then we have to spend some time for accessing. So when they are declared in an array, they will be in a nearby position. So then it will be easier for us to retrieve them from the memory locations. So these are all the advantages of an array, and we are using array in many of the applications. For example, matrix calculations, and wherever the large volumes of data are involved for processing, their array will be coming into picture. And then finally, coming to the disadvantage of an array. So once the array size is declared, so we cannot change the memory locations, we cannot remove the memory location. So for that, it is termed as a static memory location. So these are all the cons and pros of an array. So, so these are all the concepts regarding the array. So thank you.